It's just an amazing place to be.
Boys, can we move on, please? Come on.
Assalamu alaikum.
That's rude, Shirley.
My class is year 1. Yeah, my class is year 1.
You have got to be kidding
Oh, no. Wait for me. We're late. Wait for me. Wait for me.
Welcome to the final episode of the new current series of Education Matters. Now, throughout the series, we've visited many different places of learning, each with their own individual feel. We started with Muslim schools, showing you how a day transpires, moving on to special needs education and the difficulties that they face on a daily basis. And finally, moving on to mainstream comprehensive schools and finding out how they're helped out by the government. We thought it would be good to take you back on a journey through each visit to these amazing schools and maybe show you some of the highlights. So, join me as we take a look back. Hi, I'm Neil Reynolds and this is Education Matters. So, our first episode took us to Towerview Boys School in North London, and this was my first encounter of school life after 30 years. We decided we'd mingle with the pupils and staff alike. Now, they were having what they call a biker's breakfast, where the kids bring their bikes in and they're repaired. So we caught up with two young boys who'd had that done, but were quite surprised to see how one young man had spent his time during his maths lesson earlier that day. Why have you come into school by bike? Do you always come to school by bike?
Yeah.
Yeah?
For me, I normally come to school on my bike, but you know, bikes get punctured and you know they get broken.
Yeah.
Today in the morning my bike it had a puncture, so my dad he put it in his car and he brought it here.
Okay.
And then there was biker's breakfast today in my school. So
You
they
had a
fixed
biker's breakfast. So what does that mean, Abdullah? What's a biker's
In a
breakfast?
biker's breakfast, basically, if you bring your bike or you cycle to school on this particular day, they'll either fix your bike and they'll give you a breakfast.
Okay.
So you can have a variety of croissants, drinks, fruits, cereal.
Oh, fantastic.
Different stuff, just
Okay.
for cycling to school.
Excellent. So how far away do you live?
I live 5 minutes away
5 minutes. Okay, so is that 5 minutes by bike or 5 minutes on foot?
on foot.
On foot. So how long does it take you on your bike?
Less.
Does it take you less time to come to school on your bike than it did to paint your nails?
Yeah.
Yeah? when were they painted?
Today.
Today. When today? Because you've been at school all morning, so how did you paint your nails today?
On this period just before break.
Period just before break. So what lesson was that?
Maths.
So during maths, you painted your nails. How bored were you, Yusuf? Yeah?
Yeah.
You were pretty bored, huh? Let's hope your maths teacher doesn't hear this. Well, I bet his parents were over the moon trying to get that off his hands. Now, we all know that young boys love their football, but bringing it into an English class was a brand new way of bringing their team allegiances into school.
A belief is when you think something. It's when it's your choice. Like my belief is that Manchester United is better than Arsenal, and some people's belief is Arsenal is better than Manchester United. But I know it is when you're not 100%. Like I know Spurs is rubbish.
Well, I made my way round the school and looking at their fantastic facilities when I stumbled across Khalid and Ibrahim standing outside a classroom. Why were they there? See for yourselves. So, gentlemen, what was the problem?
They were talking in class.
Talking in class?
Yeah, before class
To each other or?
No,
Mainly, yeah, we just went in the classroom, like, and you know, the ICT is like packed space, so like once we've entered there was a bit of like a stampede pushing, and then I pushed him, he pushed me, we both got out of the door. For ICT, they should call it IT, because we're not doing the C bit, there's no computers really. We just, sometimes we just read from a textbook. And then he says log on, and then by the time we finish the textbook, he says log off. So it's basically IT, no C involved whatsoever.
Well, I wish I'd known that. I'd have paid more attention in IT and less in C. Now, Towerview Boys School was my first ever experience in a Muslim school, and I can tell you now it's the same as any other school. There have been so many stories around recently about Muslim schools, but right here, right now, Towerview Boys School, thank you for your time. It was great. Next, we went to Buttercup Primary School in the heart of London's East End. Tucked away amongst the cafes and shops, Buttercup seemed a very inviting place. Well, we started off by asking the children who they thought their favourite teacher was, and the response was unexpected, to say the least.
Who's your favourite teacher?
Malik. Lizara. None of them. This is Vila. Lizara.
You don't like any of them?
None of them.
Sir Malik.
High five. Down below. Too slow. So you don't like any of them?
Not even one.
Well, apparently they weren't as popular as they initially thought, but we wanted to know what they'd been like when they had their turn at school.
It's quite anarchic, you know that, and I think I wasn't challenged by the teachers, so I had plenty of other things to do. Nothing that drastic, but I mean, I enjoyed schooling. I had so many ideas, and I just think they probably didn't challenge me enough, and that's where I probably ended up, in the head teacher's office.
I got up to a lot of mischief. I like to explore a lot, take challenges. I was very boisterous, and if I wanted to do something, I would do it.
I mean, I got predicted really bad grades, I remember, and it's after the exam they were like, what was all that? I used to come into school, with non-uniform, and they used to say, where's your homework? And I used to look in my pocket and open up a crumpled piece of paper and hand it on to them, and they were like, is that your homework?
I was so well behaved at school. I loved school. I was honestly the perfect student. It was at home where I was really naughty, but at school, I was really good.
Next, we went to art class, where some boisterous pupils seemed to be trying to make a wallet, whereas others, well, they had other things on their mind.
I made it first. I drawed it on the newspaper. Then after I cutted it, and after I done that thing again.
Yeah.
And after I sticked it together with glue. And after I stick it on my book.
Okay, so if it's on your book, how are you going to keep your money in it?
This is only. No, we're gonna make one next week.
So this is a template.
Yeah, a template. We're gonna make a real one out with fabric.
Okay.
Stitches.
So you're actually going to do sewing, are you?
This week we're gonna do sewing, and then the other week we're gonna make our own wallet.
Mohammed, what's that drawing? Is that to do with your wallet?
No, that was just our cover page.
So the drawing was nothing to do with the lesson? It was just something you wanted to do. Were you bored? A little bit bored. Between you and me, I won't tell the teacher. You were a little bit bored. Clearly we were a little bored. I totally know where he was coming from. Art was never a favourite of mine either. Anyway, to summarise Buttercup Primary School, it's an amazing place in an amazing setting. And now the head teacher has had to privately fund it with money of her own, even selling her own house. But apparently she does promise to pay her husband back in the next life. We'll wait and see. So, as we were already in the East End of London, we thought we'd pop across to Whitechapel and to Buttercup's rivals at Ayasofia Primary School. Now, the pupils here were boisterous and chatty, and one really, really chatty. Just watch this. What do you think education means?
Education means a meaning of work, like work.
I think that when you grow up, that you can be like a millionaire.
I don't know what education is.
Education helps you. Education is very important because if you got good results in your test, you get a good, you're going to get to go to a good secondary school, a good, and if you get good at that, you go good to a good college, then you're going to go to a good uni, and then you're going to go to a good job again, be a millionaire.
Take a breath. Take a breath.
All right.
Wow, I was out of breath the first time I spoke to Walida, and I'm out of breath again watching it back now. The children were so happy at Ayasofia Primary School, and you could see signs of this in their work, which was everywhere.
One of the first things you notice when you arrive at Ayasofia School are the walls. World religions, pictures of churches, cathedrals, synagogues, truly worldwide religions. The children have also been taking part in World Book Day, producing book reviews, and some of the poetry here is lovely. We move across to a healthy eating program. Essays about Zheng Ji, a Chinese dissident from the 12th century, India, Islamic Spain, the colours of Mexico, truly worldwide issues. And we come over to here, the Say No to Bullying campaign, which I'm sure is prevalent in most schools across the country, not just Islamic ones. I think it's great how Ayasofia are teaching children how to become members of a worldwide society.
The diversity in the learning at Ayasofia School was plain to see, and it showed how hard the children actually worked. But was that all the time? I wanted to find out if the children actually behaved themselves. Some were honest, some not so honest, and one, well, take a look.
Just because we started learning about them, but then...
Do you behave yourself in school?
Yes.
In Arabic. My class is year 1.
Yeah, my class is year 1.
Sorry, he's a bit of a troublemaker.
Really?
Yes.
Do you get into trouble?
Sometimes, yeah.
Who tells you off?
So Jojo, sometimes he tells me off.
What for?
Because...
You like talking, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excuse me, he's being naughty right now. You should stop it, I'm not naughty.
Well, kids will be kids, as they say, and that's certainly true here at Ayasofia. But next, we moved on to somewhere more different than we'd seen before. But to summarise Ayasofia, being the smallest school we've been to, I think I can safely say it truly had the biggest heart. So we've made it halfway through this series, and I was quite enjoying being back at school, but I felt we needed a new challenge, and that new challenge took us into episode 4 and onto an amazing place called Swiss Cottage School. Swiss Cottage was a stone's throw away from London, and it caters to children with mental and physical disabilities. Hey, you couldn't help be inspired by the people that we met. So I would ask you what's a normal day for you, but I doubt if you actually ever have a normal day. So could you describe an average day here?
Yeah, so it's very active. I think that's why I enjoy this job, because every day is so different and not normal. We do lots of different tasks in class and out of class. We work a lot on life skills, work a lot on generalising the skills we've worked into the community and the real world. What did you have for your lunch? Lunch. Mohammed had?
Fish.
Fish and? Chips, yeah, favourite.
Rosanna Gooder was one of the many amazing people we met at Swiss Cottage School. Next, I talked to Eileen, the head of the upper school, to find out what the thoughts were behind the named classrooms. So I'm here with Eileen Koenig, who's head of upper school here at Swiss Cottage School. Eileen, hi. I've noticed that the classrooms here on the upper floor are all of very prominent people throughout history. Could you tell us something about the reasons behind that?
Yes, we tried to think of names that were age appropriate for our learners for our classes, and then we came up with famous people who had actually contributed something to humanity. A lot of them are peacemakers, and our pupils participate in things like Peace One Day. And so learners and staff came up with a list of names, and we chose the names according to the list that we've got. So we've got peacemakers, and we've got people like Richard Attenborough, who appeals very strongly to some of our classes.
Excellent. Do the children actually know who these people are?
For the pupils who can, yes, they do. And in classes like Martin Luther King, they've got it across the top. There's saying across the top of their classroom, and it's part of the thing that they do with that class as part of their communication work that they do.
Excellent. So obviously they don't do national curriculum per se here, but do they learn about the history behind these people as well?
They would learn a little bit about the history if they can do that and they understand it. So people like Mandela class, yes, they do. And they also look at the quotes that these people have outside their classrooms, and they sort of things to aspire to.
It was great to hear the thoughts behind the names of the classes, and it was amazing to find that the children had picked such inspirational figures. Now, every school that we visited has a character, and at Swiss Cottage School that was no different. The character here was a young lady called Christina. We had so much fun with Christina. Here's a little bit about her.
We have time for one more, and I know, Christina, you really wanted to tell us about your news, so do you want to share with everyone? Off you go.
I have great news that my grandma turned me up. Have sleepover tonight.
So your grandma is picking you up and you're having a sleepover, and how is that making you feel?
Happy.
It's making you feel very, very happy, and I can see by your face a bit more than happy, maybe a bit excited.
What's your name?
My name's Blight Bexer, Down City, the pet shop.
And what's your real name?
And what's your real name?
Call me Xena.
Christina, yes, she's a character. She is actually fairly new to the school. She arrived in September, and she's made amazing progress since she's come here. We found she's had a really positive impact on all the children in our class. Because she entered as a new child, it's kind of forced them to think about how to make friends and how to welcome someone in. So we've really seen that it's kind of everyone's social skills have progressed.
And with Christina still in our minds, that's all for part one. But don't go anywhere, because after the break we'll be visiting the other 3 amazing schools that we went to on Education Matters. And you might find out how to climb a wall in a suit, or even see the next James Bond. We'll see you after the break. Well, welcome back to our final episode of this series of Education Matters, where we're taking a look back at some of the highlights from the entire series. Now, episode 5 took us to Acton and to West London and Berrymead Junior School. Now, I met Lena, who was a sports ambassador, and she showed me how to climb the wall.
Let's go. Are you starting your activity? Okay, so you're going to do activity here?
What's your name?
Okay, so
Who?
you're going to be really lucky.
Akram, I'm Neil. Nice to meet you. You have to help me, because I don't know what I'm coaching. You come in here with me. Sorry, what's your name again?
Lena.
Lena. So Lena's going to help me to coach Akram. So come on in, Akram. Away you go. So what are we looking for, Lena?
So you need to find a hold to start off with that's quite comfortable.
Yeah.
So for example, if you wanted to start off there,
Yeah.
pull it up. Somewhere that you can feel like you're not going to slip. Good.
How you doing, Akram?
If you want. So first time climbing.
This is your first time climb. Akram's first time climb.
So you might want to put your foot there
Yeah.
after you start off to make
Do you want to jump in there?
yourself.
Because we're going to be a while.
It's my first time as well.
That's okay. You just jump in over there, and we'll carry on here.
While you're coaching down okay, so
You'd rather be a coach, would you? I knew you'd say that. Akram would rather be a coach, which means I've got to climb. Lovely. Good. Right.
so you can reach wherever you want to start.
Can I? Okay.
You can't put your foot wherever you want.
I'd rather put my feet where they are. No?
You have to be on the wall.
I have to be on the wall, do I? Okay.
Put one foot there, one foot there. That's too small.
I have. Why? What? Yeah, I had a feeling that Akram might do that. Anyway, we moved back inside and caught up with Daniel, who was in Mr. Challoner's science class learning about forces and gravitational pull. Mr. Challoner and Daniel, though, seem to have very different ideas about what one thought about the other.
Daniel's often very, very good, and he will see in his report at the end of the year that that's what I've said. So.
He'd say that I'm a bad boy.
He might have a perception of me, sometimes going quite hard on him, but that's more to cut out the behaviours that I don't necessarily want.
Sometimes I wind him up and I behave really bad.
I actually see him as a brilliant student who's very sparky and has got lots to offer. So.
Well, I wonder if Daniel feels differently now, having read his school report and having seen this programme. Over in Miss Connor's class, the children were learning about poems and rhyming. They all seemed really focused until our microphones picked up part of the conversation.
In my dog ate my homework. So what are we going to rhyme with this? What are we going to rhyme with this?
I finished.
Are we meant to do the first line?
No, we're on the second verse now.
Oh.
I do my neatest handwriting, but my eyes just, I don't feel like doing it. And, wait, hold up. Bun, yeah. So the answer is bun.
And what will I need if I'm listing adjectives? What do I need in the middle? A comma. I need a comma if I'm listing adjectives. And have you got rhyming words at the end?
No.
Have you got rhyming words at the end? Ali, have you got rhyming words at the end?
Have I got? Yeah.
And have you got an apostrophe in your work for the challenge? So maybe that you could make that your target. So you can write a T.
We really enjoyed our time at Berrymead, and what a fantastic school it was. And a big thank you to head teacher Lubna Khan for allowing us as much access as she did. Now, moving on from Berrymead, we went a bit further to the northwest of London and on to Kingsbury. Episode 6 took us to another amazing place, the village school. Now, the school motto is that it takes a village to raise a child, and at the village school they definitely do that in so many different ways. We caught up with Abdul Rahman, also known as AR, to find out about the children that he taught and how they prepared them for the outside world.
My name is Abdul Rahman Ismail. I am the assistant head teacher and I'm in charge of Key Stage 5. Key Stage 5 is really interesting because it's kind of like the last step before the real world as such, or college. So we're really trying to give our students a taste of the real world. So we've got our flat, and in the flat you've got a kitchen, a living room, you've got bedrooms in there as well, and all the drawers there, they've got clothes, mock socks and t-shirts, so you can have a go at doing your own laundry, making your own bed, making your own food. So it's all about making choices. So you've got different pathways for different students. Some students might in the future be able to live in some kind of supported accommodation. Some might be able to live independently. Some might still be at home, but we need to teach them to make more choices in life. So it's all about giving those opportunities so they can generalize those skills.
I can't stress how inspiring AR was, and if even a small amount rubs off on the children, they will become model adults. So while we were at the village school, they also had their summer fair, where parents and friends could come and partake in the activities. I thought I'd try my hand at tombola, but I guess my luck had just run out.
I'll take 5 of these.
5 of these.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes.
Right. 140.
Oh, let's go look. Oh.
No, nothing.
Unlucky.
258.
258.
I'm not going to win. No.
No.
43.
Oh, says no. No.
262.
262. No.
And number 37.
47. Let's go and see.
Carmen, you.
Don't worry.
I'm sorry, you didn't win anything.
In the popcorn.
Oh, is that for me? I made some popcorn. Yay! Can't believe my luck. I'll tell you what, can these boys eat popcorn?
Yeah.
Boys, that's for you. That's for you. You don't want it?
It's just a game.
There you go. Oh, it's a game, is it? Is it a game? Hey! We're having fun at the popcorn tombola stand. See you in a bit.
Another inspiring person that we met at the village was sensory teacher Nick Sheffield, who told us about his love for his work and how he helps the pupils get the best from their learning experience.
Emma, what big teeth you have!
Special needs is just like mainstream. It's just you teach exactly the same skills just through different vehicles. So a history teacher will teach pupils how to be critical and how to understand other people's points of view through the vehicle of GCSE English or through the vehicle of Hastings. I teach my pupils to be tolerant and to share and to engage in each other through sensory stories. And the biggest thing I'd love my pupils to take away is that growing independence and that their leadership in their own life. And I think that's the biggest thing you can ask for, really.
Story time is finished. Story time is finished. Time to stop. Time to stop. Story time is finished.
What I think is important about what the kids take away is actually what adults take away as well. Like me as a teacher, as a person, the impact those children have on my lives has been amazing. And the impact of all those amazing adults that I work with, you know, they've really given me a real broad understanding of life. I mean, some of my pupils are just unbelievable. And if I can have like 10% of the impact that those children have on me, then I think I've done all right there. I think I'd take that personally.
The village experience is one that I won't forget for a very, very long time. Our last episode of the series took us to southwest London and a leafy corner called Parsons Green. If you didn't know Almond School was there, it could be very easily missed as it's tucked away amongst the tightly terraced houses. When we arrived, the school were having a welcome to the community day, so I thought I'd catch up with some of the children.
Okay, I'm going to ask you a question. Can you read the Arabic?
Yes, I can. We have different teachers. So here's different. So there's, for example...
See, I think that says petal.
It is petal, but in Arabic it's called betala.
Betala. Which way do you read it from?
It's from here.
From right to left?
Yeah. So
okay.
Betala. And here is hushab.
Oh, wow.
So ru is here, shab, which means grass.
Okay.
And ma, and right here's root.
Assistant head teacher Mrs. Anjum joined us for an interactive maths lesson. It started out with the children playing a multiplication game, but towards the end it started to get very competitive.
2 times 6.
12.
Clever, I need to be faster now.
2 times 9.
18.
Okay.
Cheating!
I saw you.
You saw me?
Oh.
6 times 5.
30.
Oh. 31.
7 times 4.
28.
Woo!
5 times 3.
15.
Mrs. Anjum was a breath of fresh air, and I wish I'd had a teacher like her when I'd been at school. Almond was another great school in our series, and we caught up with head teacher Mr. Malik before we left to find out a bit more.
Education. Education is actually knowledge around you. Education is a form or a means of success, a means of going forward, because if you have no education, then the whole world will just crumble, because in the Quran, the first thing that was revealed to the Prophet ﷺ that I stress to the children is read.
What does education mean to you?
It means learning to me, and well, it means that it can help me in my life, so I have to concentrate on it a lot.
Islamically, education is about bringing up the child and nurturing them.
You cannot have education without reading. So for me, as year 1 teacher, my focus on the children is reading. And if they can read, they can do math, they can do science, they can do anything that comes in their way. They can overcome all their struggles.
Education is an important thing in your life, because if you don't know education and somebody asks you something and they'll be surprised that you don't know, education is a very important thing in your life.
In bringing up that human being, they needs to be educated, and that's both physically, morally, intellectually and spiritually, so that you get a complete insan, which means the perfect man.
Well, that's it for this series of Education Matters. We hope you've enjoyed our journey back through some incredible pupils, some amazing teachers and some inspiring schools. And if you have, why not get in touch at educationmatters@islamchannel.tv. Now, it doesn't matter where you live or which school you send your children to, education matters on a really large scale.
Knock knock.
Who's there?
Doctor.
Doctor who? Does your mummy and daddy know that you get in trouble at school?
No.
They do now. It's going to be on TV.
What? Huh?